Hello, this is Jersian, and today I'm showing off the demo trial version of Stranger of Paradise, Final Fantasy Origins. Now, the demo is pretty long, but I'll show off a bit of the tutorial first. Immediately, this big guy and his sword reminds me of a friend who plays a great sword in Monster Hunter. Shoutouts to you, Mikey. I'm gonna just do the basic attacks. There's a attack, there's a heavy attack. This area is very bright. As you can tell, it's lit by the sun. The demo, once we get into it, it's gonna be much less colorful and bright, but there are a variety of enemies, starting with these goblins that we're fighting in the tutorial, and we'll fight immediately once we start the demo. Yeah, I was trying to do a charge attack there. And that animation is very reminiscent of a charging animation in Monster Hunter. So this game is trying to be an action RPG version of Final Fantasy 1. I don't think this is the Hero of Light protagonist from the NES classic game, but this new hero is on the same mission nevertheless. He wants to destroy Chaos and defeat Garland. We don't know a lot of details about the story other than that it's a reimagining of the first Final Fantasy game, but with the title Stranger of Paradise, I believe that this character, Jack, maybe he's from our world and he was transported isekai'd into the Final Fantasy world. Because he has modern looking clothing, and if you remember, the NES Final Fantasy is very fantastical type of garb. So watch me fail at using this soul shield. It's like a block. And I got it. On to the next power, and it's like a burst. If you played fighting games, it's like a super, and your attacks are much stronger. Those finishers look very cool. When the trailer first launched at E3, this game was criticized quite a lot for the dialogue, and it may sound cringy, but the action is really cool. Like, if anything, it looks pretty fast, but all the animations are very deliberate, and it feels somewhere between Monster Hunter and Dark Souls. Here we go for a cinematic.
Looks like Chaos has been waiting for us.
You gonna make us go in there and find you?
Guess we'll just show ourselves in.
Chaos Shrine. The demo has 6 classes which you can play around with. There are 3 main classes and then the evolved version of those 3 classes. I primarily played with 2. This greatsword warrior type class, and there is a magic class that I'll show on. I like those finishers that you can do on the goblins where they turn all into crystals. We know Final Fantasy has always been about their crystals. All of the fonts and everything remind me of Final Fantasy VII Remake, but this is completely action. There you see me trying out that charge and failing. Let's try it again. There we go. This is job level up, because your character has job levels. When you are leveling, what you're leveling is either your warrior class, your magic class, or the spear class that I know it's a lot of people's favorite. It's featured in Final Fantasy IV and Final Fantasy XIV, but I didn't really play with it. So here I'm finding the classic Firebomb. we see in many Final Fantasies. If you take too long, it'll start to grow and eventually it will explode. And that's another one of those awesome finishers. You're constantly picking up new items, armor and weapons, and not all of them are useful, a lot of them are fodder. And I decided not to include a lot of that in the video because I spent a lot of time in the menus. But there is a reason that you're given so many drops, because I am getting closer to a boss. So I don't know if this is the beginning of the game, I actually doubt it. But for this chunk, since you started from level 1, they gave me so much stuff so I could be prepared for the boss at the end. Now, check this out, I'm fighting a lot of wolves and there's like an alpha wolf. And he does this move and he calls them all to him. It's pretty cool. On the bottom left, you see the number 4. Those are the number of my healing items. And it's round, shaped like a materia. So there is some Final Fantasy VII DNA here, while it tries to interpret Final Fantasy 1 somehow. Nice! And you see I got the job level up with my magic, so I'm switching to the magic class now. Let's check out the spells. It's water, Tondara, Blizzaga, and you just get all these magics. I imagine in the main game you're gonna unlock them slowly or find them. I just have them all at once in the demo. That was Tondaga. And we've beaten the Alpha Wolf. Moving on, we're getting closer to the end of the demo, and here I am fighting the skeletons, which are very strong enemies. Now, since I'm not showing the menus and the equipping, one thing that's cool in this game is that you can have different sets of equipment for classes. If I were to switch to my magic class, the armor would immediately change. And I think that's pretty cool, and I hope we can continue getting armors that apply. This is one of my favorite things in the game. When you equip an armor, you can see it in the menu. It's not just stats. Every armor, cosmetics, there's eye patches, that hoodie that I'm wearing. So, aside from these skeletons, check this out. You can be overwhelmed if you head in alone by yourself. I ran in here and my companions are outside, and these bats interrupt your attack pretty much. And I am dead.
Alright.
Okay, so we're loading back in, and this is
Can't lose with Jack
a
here.
mini boss. It's a griffin, and it's pretty strong. It resists your attacks, so instead of using my greatsword, I am fighting it with the magic weapon. The magic weapon obviously does magic attack, and you see the numbers coming out and the word weak on top of it. Healing up. I never figured out which of the magics it doesn't resist, but the physical attack with the magic weapon gets the critical, so that was nice. Okay, let's talk about that soundtrack. There are homage to original Final Fantasy music, but it's all either going into rock or going into some industrial type, and it's really awesome for the battling. Popping another heal. And I have no magic left. The magic bar is the one beneath my health bar right there, so I couldn't cast the spell. And the griffin is finished. Now right now I'm going to fight Garland, and here's the intro cutscene.
Chaos.
No. to become him. And who are you?
We're here to kill Chaos.
The prophecy's very own Warriors of Light.
Really?
He always wore such splendid armor, with a helmet that was terrifying to behold.
It's Garland!
No. I am to become Chaos.
Alright, here we are fighting Garland, or Chaos, and this is my first attempt, and I am going to be honest, it took me quite a while to beat him. I'm still trying to get a feel for it here. I'm rushing in a bit too much, and I was not taking my own advice. This game is difficult. This game is punishing, and it has 3 difficulties. I'm at the normal difficulty. I can't imagine how much more difficult the hard version is. Well, it was bold of SquareEnix to make a Souls type game. Most of SquareEnix games are very accessible, and well, this one does have an easy version, but most people will try to play it on normal, or the hardcore are going for hard. But you see, Garland is using magic and thrusting attacks, and I only have 2 heals left. If you can look at his health bar, I have not even dented it. My companions, I think I saw an 11 pop up there. They're not doing much damage, but they are at least, they serve as like human shields and distract when there are mobs of enemies. I don't know how useful they're gonna be against a boss, because they can fall. They have their own HP, even though I cannot see it. So once that HP is gone, then I would be fighting by myself. Trying to heal in front of a boss, big mistake. This was a nightmare, but I was getting the feel for it. I'm used to playing difficult games, but I was not ready for a demo to kick my ass, and I have died. And this is attempt number 17. I will spare you the last 16 attempts, which was just me dying and experimenting. But here we go. I've mastered the dodge. I've learned all of Garland's attacks, and his armor's pretty cool. And now I can finally, hopefully, beat him. Let's see how I do. That AoE attack got me, but I had been dodging pretty nicely until then. And here you can wail on him. Check this out. This is part of what makes me think this character is not from our world. He chose just to go on for fists like a brawler, but he's a sword guy. And 50% of the health of the enemy is down, and this is now like his second phase. He's switching from fire to ice.
Give up on me, Ash.
And I'm going to try my magic now. And see what I said earlier, both of my companions are actually on the floor. They're not going to be helping me anymore. Garland has included more magic, not just ice. He's using thunder now. And that's a grab that will take out like 3/4 of my health, so thank God I dodged there.
Sink into despair.
Time for a change.
my logic here is because he's using an ice sword, he must be weak to fire magic, so that's why I switched classes. But my magic class has different armor, so he is much weaker against that. So I popped here your ultimate attack, like a super that I showed earlier in the tutorial, to try and finish it, but it did not last very long. So back to our warrior class. Dodging that lightning, and we're almost there. Done.
Now we're talking.
I almost expected a quick time event, but that is it. And as I said, I only used 2 of the weapons. If there is another demo, I'll show off the dragoon and spear usage. Thank you for watching. Leave a like, subscribe to my channel, and leave me a comment. Do you like this game?